adding on will make him chayiv. Abaye says he'll be chayiv if he adds 3 kav. Rava says he'll be chayiv if he adds 1 sa. And the basis for this machlekes is if it would be wheat, so the rule would be 3 kav according to everyone. And barley, which is lighter than wheat, so Abaye says it doesn't matter that it's lighter. The fact is the size should be the same, and because the size, the volume is just like the weight. But Rava says no. The weight first has to be equal, and the weight of barley and corresponding to the weight of wheat is, if wheat would be 15 sa, barley would have to be 16 sa. And once you have the same weight, then the fact that it's an extra sa, that's what would make him chayiv. And Abaye says no, it doesn't. You don't need the same weight, even though it weighs less. But the fact that it's the same size that you would be chayiv by wheat, so weight and size would have the same halacha. So 3 kav is half a sa. Okay, that's what you need to know for the background. Tanan. We learned in the Mishnah, Lahavi lesech chitim, if there was an agreement that he was going to bring a lesech, which is 15 sa of chitim, that's the amount that a donkey can carry. Behavi lesech sayrim, but instead he brought barley, which weighs less, but it's the same volume. A lesech is a volume measurement, so he's going to be pater. Bim hoisif al masoi, if he adds on to the load, then he's going to be chayiv. That's the quote. That's the end of the quote. My lav, is it not shleishes kavim that he added on 3 kav? 3 kav, and he's going to be chayiv, is clearly like Abaye. We don't know what the Mishnah really means, but we're going to assume that it's 3 kav, and based on that assumption, we have a kasha on Rava that says that he'd only be chayiv if he added an entire sa, which is 6 kav. 3 kav is half a sa. The Gemara says, no, doesn't say 3 kav. So it doesn't say anything. It says you added. It's referring to a sa, and therefore it would fit perfectly with Rava. The Gemara says, how can you say that? We clearly learned on this in the Mishnah. Bekama Yosef al Masoi. Let's show you the Mishnah so you got this clear. Back up in the Mishnah, it says Lahavi lesachit mev lesang pater Yosef al Masoi chayev. That's what we're talking about. This question, Yosef al Masoi. This quote. If you add on to the load, you're going to be chayev. Bekama Yosef al Masoi. That's the quote that we're doing now. How much adding? So we said before that it's referring to 3 kav. We had it was a kasha on Rava. We said no, it's referring to a sa. So the Gemara now says, back in the Gemara, I'm going to leave that highlighted. Actually, we'll highlight just the end of it. And we'll go back into our Gemara. And we'll do this. But on this we learned clearly, how much do you have to add onto the load to make you chayiv? So Simcha says in the name of Reb Meir, that adding 3 kav on a donkey would make you chayiv, and that's clearly what the Mishnah says. So this would be a kasha and Rava that says you're not chayiv unless it's an entire sa. So the Gemara says no, hachi kamar. This is actually what the Mishnah means. There's a basic thing in the Mishnah that wasn't mentioned. The Mishnah spoke about if you supposed to bring wheat, but instead you brought barley, and you added onto the barley and all of this. But it didn't say that if you're supposed to bring wheat and you added onto wheat. So now the Gemara says it's hachi kamar. This is what it means. Heicha d'lei shani, where you didn't change what you were supposed to bring. Chitin vehevi chitin. You made up to bring wheat and you brought wheat. So or you made up to bring barley vehevi son, you brought barley. So now based on that, Bekama Yosef al Masai vechayev. How much does he have to add to be chayev if he's actually bringing wheat? So simple same that it's 3 kav to a donkey would make you chayev. The 3 kav for a donkey that's carrying wheat would make you chayev. How much would you be chayev if you're carrying barley? So then Abaye would say that it's 3 kav, and Rava would say that it's 1 sa. But whatever the case is, if we look back at the Mishnah, we don't have any proof to Abaye or Rava. For sure not Rava. But okay, so again, let's look at the Mishnah. It says Lahavi lesachit mev lesang pater. If you bring it because sayrim weighs less, barley weighs less, you're going to be pater. But Mosif al Masai, if you add onto it chayev, what does that mean? So Rava would say adding 1 sa, and Abaye would say it's adding 3 kav. The Kama Yosef al Masai vehe chayev. How much adding would make you chayev? So Rava would learn this. It's referring to when he brought wheat. But Abaya would learn this, that it's referring to when he brought barley. So it's actually a continuation. So the Machlekas Abaya Barava, what Nefach Kosher Kamasa meant in the last Gemara, is actually going to continue into this part of the Mishnah. And Bekama Yosef al Masoi, is it a continuation of bringing barley? That's what Abaya would say. Or is it a new piece of the Mishnah, and it's referring to bringing wheat, which we didn't mention before? And that's how Rav would learn. Okay, so, and that's where the Gemara ends right over here.